You know, there is a saying in Kannada, just drink Ambuli, and after that, even if you drink poison, nothing will happen. Whether you have diabetes, BP, thyroid, cancer, PCOD, fibroids, endometriosis, infertility, lung issues, nervous system issues, liver, heart, kidney issues, blood circulation, or bone marrow, just one food. Vegetarians who eat Ambuli consistently will naturally correct their B12 deficiency when it is done every day and over a period of time. Have you observed that some people can digest even a stone? And some people are just sensitive to the simplest of foods, because depleted microbial population in the gut makes it very weak and vulnerable, and automatically the food sensitivity levels rise. We are supposed to have 1 to 2 kg of beneficial microbes in our body. But what is so special about Ambuli? I mean, like, there are so many other fermented foods, right? Why millet Ambuli? Hi and welcome to Curiosity with me, Daisy. Ambuli is given such a prime position in diet and nutrition culturally, at least in the south, actually in the north also, but they call it with different names, because it is a fermented drink made from millets, not vegetables, not rice. Of course, you do have rice Ambuli, but here we are specifically talking about the indigenous 5 positive millets. They are called SIRIDHANYA, termed by Dr. Kadhar Valli. Now, if you guys are reading newspapers every day, then you know who Dr. Kadhar Valli is. It is impossible for me to talk about millets without talking about Kadhar sir. When your food is right, no medicine is needed. When your food is wrong, no medicine works. I mean, how many times have we witnessed this in our own lives? Like, it's so relatable, right? These are the words of Padma Shri Dr. Kadhar Valli, the millet man of India. He is a research scientist and food and nutrition specialist who has studied the molecular structure of food and its impact on health from real world cases and lab studies and research, of course, which is a very, very rare find in any modern nutritionist today. You know, this one man is responsible for a major part of my weight loss journey and amazing health and energy that I enjoy today. If you guys have seen my weight loss video, I have spoken about millets even there. I ride for like 7 to 8 hours on a few days at a stretch. I work out like crazy, sometimes like a man, and I still have a lot of energy left after all that. Touch wood. Kadhar sir's knowledge on nutrition and health is not based on some gimmick or some business or some marketing strategy or marketing himself or selling more products than our body actually needs. But it's a very conservative approach where a few simple things consumed and done every day in a particular way, it compounds to mega health transformations and disease reversals over a period of time. Here are just a fraction of the comments that I found online where people have used Dr. Kadhar Valli's millet protocol, that is the Ambuli, and they have reversed some very, very serious disorders, people from all around the globe. Now you can pause this page and read it at leisure. And you know, they are the same traditional health protocol that existed in India way before our local foods and grains got wiped out due to industrialization. Now, you know, I personally, whenever I cannot figure something out, something is going wrong in my health and I can't figure it out, I just go back to tradition very blindly. Why? Because it is time tested. It has lasted the weather of time. It is based on real world case studies, not laboratory studies or intentionally funded research, because that is one of the biggest battles today, is to figure out whether the research was non-funded or neutral. You know, I've been consuming Ambuli for years now. In fact, I realized long ago that my gut is the only thing I should focus on and everything else will just fall into place. Like today, we are so hyper focused about specific nutrients like protein or iron or individual nutrients, right? But the bioavailability and absorption of those nutrients completely depends on our gut health. Else we are just pooping protein-rich poop or maybe accumulating it somewhere else in the body. When you deeply look at most common health issues, they are in some way or the other related to gut health. Like either disorders stem most commonly, the disorders stem from microbial imbalance because of unhealthy or depleted gut microbiome, or maybe it is because of glucose imbalance, that is sugar dysregulation, blood sugar dysregulation, or hormonal or metabolic imbalance, which is also so common today. But what Ambuli does is it directly heals the gut and increases the good gut bacteria, which in turn heals the second and the third. And with this, you realize that the body is not functioning as separate organs, doing separate things mutually, exclusively. They're all so complexly interconnected. And the gut makes us realize the absolute importance of this connection. Because I mean, whatever you are having, whatever you are suffering from, just try working or focusing on your gut just for a while. And look at how automatically all your medications will taper down. But I have fermented idli, dosa, dhokla. They're also very good for the gut. Why should I have this? That's a very good question. You know, idli, dosa, dhokla, all fermented foods are amazing for health, no doubt. But there is a fundamental difference between millet ambuli and these foods. The bacteria in your idli and batter eat the dal or the rice in your batter. And while it is digesting it, when they break down all the starches and sugars in the batter, in this process, they excrete certain chemicals, acids, enzymes, vitamins, short chain fatty acids. These excreted chemicals are called as fermented metabolites. But then later, you cook the idli, right? You steam it, or the dosa is cooked on the pan. So all the bacteria dies because of the heat, and only the fermented metabolites are entering your body, which is also beneficial, but not as much when the bacteria is dead. But when you are eating ambuli, you are getting the prebiotic, that is the fiber from the millet, and I'm going to come to that. You'll be amazed at how fiber rich these are. The probiotic, that is, the live bacteria colonies during the fermentation process, and the postbiotic, that is the byproduct of the bacteria, the fermented metabolites. All the three together. Now tell me which supplement or dehydrated capsuled probiotic can give you all the three. But I have rice kanji, I have vegetable fermentations also, very good for the gut. Why should I have millets? Because a certain kind of fiber is needed to heal the gut. Now rice is super low in fiber. The fiber in vegetables are nascent, meaning they are immature or new. But the fiber in millets are regulatory fibers, meaning they have a certain structural composition or property that it absorbs and neutralizes all the negative biochemical forces in our guts. And let's face it, today we need that the most, like toxins and excess glucose or sugar, free radicals. So then they also release the glucose very slowly over 6 to 8 hours. But you observe with rice, within 20 minutes or 30 minutes, you'll have it happen. The glucose release is very quick. This slow release prevents insulin spike, and it acts as a deep prebiotic as well. It feeds and builds all that gut microbiome right from scratch, and it regulates all the body systems. This is the most important, your endocrine system, your neurological, reproductive. So this regulatory capacity is not found in, let's say, the fibers of vegetables or rice. So very simplistically put, if I have to say, it's like the difference between a raw, uncooked, soft brick and a cooked, sturdy brick. What is the difference? It's the same thing here. So this structure only 5 positive millets have, not all of them. Positive millets are? Meaning there is negative millets also? Yeah, positive millets are like, your foxtail millet, little millet, kodo millet, barnyard millet, and brown top millet. Here are their Tamil and Hindi names. You can just take a screenshot of this. These have between like 8% to 12.5% of fiber, and that too regulatory strong fibers. They actively heal and reverse your diseases. And there are neutral and negative millets also that are lower in fiber, like jowar, bajra, and ragi, etc. They are also very nutritious. Yes, don't mistake or misunderstand this, but they are not as therapeutic or as positive as these other millets. Now you get this entire set on Amazon. I'm going to link it for you. Okay, so let's get to the recipe. Okay, so to start with, every day I take a different millet from the set, because each millet adds a different set of bacteria, and when you eat them all in rotation, you get all the diverse bacteria. Recipe is very, very simple. I soak just 1 tablespoon of any one of the millet in a little more than half a liter of water, about 700 ml of water. So today I'm taking barnyard millet. I'm first putting the millet in the strainer. Millets can be super, super, super dirty. If you've ever used millets, you'll know what I'm talking about. So just make sure you wash it thoroughly before you soak it. Okay, first I'm taking 500 ml of water in this cup. Then another 200 ml of water. So totally 700 ml of water. Okay, then I cover it and set it aside for 8 hours. Okay, so now it is like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm going to check back again by 8 or 9 o'clock in the night. I'm going to cook it. Okay, now it's 9 o'clock in the night. I'm going to cook this, but make sure you keep the flame on complete simmer. It should not be a high flame whenever you're cooking in a mud pot, else the mud pot will crack. Okay, it takes about 10-15 minutes to cook, and once it's done, the millet will completely kind of squish or mash up in your finger. That's when you know it's done. Then I let the pot cool completely and then cover it with a cotton or any muslin cloth. and then I set it aside in a warm space for it to ferment the entire night. Don't cover with a plastic cover or other material, please. Again, material needs to be breathable. Now I let this ferment the whole night, and the next morning it looks something like this. It is still going to be watery. Once it's done, I add some freshly chopped coriander, some black salt and roasted jeera powder. I just pour it into a bowl and it's ready to eat or drink. I don't have any coffee or chai after this because the milk, also the tea and coffee as ingredients will interfere with what this is supposed to do. And you also may be thinking now, what is this? This is so watery. It's more like a drink. That is the key. It is supposed to be like a drink and not a porridge, thick porridge. Now this watery consistency is very critical because this is what allows the live bacteria to make or survive the journey, through your stomach acid and into your gut. So let it be watery. Now this is so convenient for a working person. Imagine, it didn't even take me 10 minutes. Like, you can flavor this however you want. Of course, not too much of masala, no oil. It's not salty, excessively salty or excessively sweet like most probiotics. If the probiotic is too sweet, diabetics will have to be careful. And if it is too salty, hypertensive people have to be careful. So there is no such thing in the case of Ambuli. Of course, it won't be like your masaledar, oily, full of masala khana, and it is not meant to be like that. But it is flavorful enough to enjoy it, and honestly, I just love the simpler food. Some people are adding tadka with the oil. I would really not suggest you to do it because it may defeat the whole purpose of having it. Are you not even heating it before eating? Yeah, actually never cook the ambuli after the fermenting. This is very important to make sure that you're not killing all the live bacteria that has developed overnight in it. Okay, then can I add something while cooking it, like before the fermenting process? No salt or veggies should be added during cooking or fermentation. I don't have a mud pot, but can I cook and ferment it in, like, say, steel, aluminium, Teflon or something? This fermentation is an aerobic fermentation, and when it is done in a steel vessel, pressure will build up, but it needs to be released. Whereas an unglazed mud pot like this one is porous. The pot breathes, and so does the bacteria inside. So mud pots allow this tiny controlled flow of oxygen inward, which is exactly what all the lactic acid bacteria needs. So when you use, like, let's say a steel or an aluminium or a glass utensil, it shifts that microbial balance towards different kind of bacteria which are not as desirable. Now, steel and metal pots also chemically stress and partially poison the very bacteria you are trying to grow, whereas clay is biologically neutral. And you guys, when you repeatedly ferment in these, now you will realize it over a period of time. The beneficial bacteria kind of colonize all these micropores of the pot wall. So they are permanently embedded in the clay itself. So every time you ferment in the same pot, the fermentation becomes quicker, the microbial diversity is richer, and the batch is more consistent in taste and quality. And that is how you will realize it. Because, like, see, I've been using this pot like almost for 10 years, but specifically for fermenting for about 4 years. And right now, look at the color. You can make out how used it is. And now I get the same taste every single day. Earlier, there used to be a little bit of a difference, and if you're sensitive to taste, you will realize it. This is the matka that I got recently from Amazon. I found very few brands actually that make the matka without any polish. This is very important, and in fact, this brand has very good quality clay. I'll mention this for you in the description. Okay, so whenever you have to wash it, just make sure you use some salt or vinegar or just hot water most times. But if it's very greasy, you can use a little bit of lime and salt or vinegar, whatever one, and just keep it. That's it. Very simple. Okay, so when should this be consumed? Yeah, always have this on an empty stomach. I usually take it like after my amla drink, and then I give it like a 2 hours of gap, and then I have this. But if you guys can do it completely on an empty stomach, then please do so. You said Ambuli contains B12. That's not true. B12 is in meat and dairy. B12 is made by microbes, not by animals. Ambuli does not contain B12. Ambuli rebuilds the colony of good bacteria in your gut, and those bacteria are the ones that manufacture B12 for you from within. This is why Dr. Kadhar says vegetarians who eat Ambuli consistently every single day will naturally correct their B12 deficiencies, and not by supplementing, but by restoring the gut's own B12 producing capacity. And of course, this will happen over a period of time. not instantly. And you know guys, there are so many studies on how idli fermentation creates significant amount of B12 during the fermentation process. In very simple terms, the bacteria are vitamin factories. They build vitamins inside your batter that simply did not exist before fermentation began, like riboflavin, thiamine, folic acid, niacin, biotin, vitamin K. You know, I personally have been having Ambuli like many years now, 4-5 years, maybe more. I've been eating millets as a rice alternative in my diet. I don't even remember the last time when we bought rice in this house. And I have like the kind of digestion that can even digest even a stone. And it surprises me at times. It's very strong. But I still take B12 supplements, and soon I'm going to be tapering my B12 as well. I'm going to keep you guys posted because now it's high time I could do that. You know, I have diabetes, so which millet should I favor more? So I have provided a chart, which millet for what disorder. You can take a pic of it. You can refer to it even in the future anytime. It'll just be easy for you. Okay, I highly encourage you guys to buy this book if you want to uproot some kind of a health issue that you've been suffering for a very long time. You've tried different things, nothing has worked. Please do give this a try. It's very simple, no marketing, no fancy cover, but I promise you that the content in it will transform your health for sure. You get this on Amazon very easily. It's called SIRIDHANYA. And you'll see Kadhar sir on the cover. Is there something I should be careful about while consuming them, like a precaution? Okay, this is not really like a precaution, but for people who are on heavy diabetic medications, once you start consuming Ambuli, it will significantly lower your blood sugar very naturally. So your medication doses will have to be adjusted by your doctor as your body keeps healing. So that is something to keep in mind if you can consider that a precaution. The second one is people who have very severe thyroid conditions. You just start it under guidance as brown top millet targets thyroid health and can shift your readings. So automatically your dosage of medications, whatever you're taking, will start to taper. You'll need someone to do the tapering. Oh yeah, also some people may experience bloating, especially if they have extremely sensitive gut, and this may happen especially if they have never eaten millets ever before in their life. Just give it 3 to 4 weeks. Your body will naturally get used to it and adapt to new foods. Especially this happens if your gut is super sensitive. Then it also says that you probably need the Ambuli more than anyone else. Okay, so all amino acids are synthesized in millets. Different lentils come with different amino acids, the combinations. Some may have some less, some may have some more. So if you're having a complete meal with your millets and your dal and your sabji, and especially when the millet is fermented, whatever your body lacks in terms of amino acids, the microbes will fill up that gap. Do this for just a while, just maybe 2 or 3 months, and see how your body is responding to this protocol, because everybody's body is so uniquely different. It's not even funny. Even 2 people in the same family will not be same in terms of health and digestion. Try this, but it is worth giving it a try, and let your body decide for itself, whether it is suiting it, whether it is not suiting it. Don't make your decisions based on scientific gurus or literature or chat GPT or perplexity regurgitated knowledge. Try it. Just get into the habit of listening to your body. Try something, give it a while. Let your body do the decision for you. Don't let your mind make any decisions for you. Okay, so do this, try it. Let me know if it suited you or not. Until the next time.